Alright, so in this video, we are going to factor polynomials before multiplying. So if you don't know how to factor, you need to go back to the video that I made previously about factoring. But we're going to move into factoring now. So factoring polynomials before multiplying. So I have a squared plus 2ab plus b squared over a times b over a squared minus b squared. Okay, so you should, if you've watched the previous video and you've been learning algebra up to this point, you should immediately recognize that this is a perfect square binomial and this is a difference of two squares. You should recognize that immediately. If you don't, you need to go back and watch the other videos. So when I factor a perfect square binomial, a perfect square polynomial, I'm just looking at my first and my last. So I'm going to take the square root of a squared. Remember, all you do with variables is you take your exponent, divide it by your root. That's going to give me an a and an a. Take the square root of b squared. Again, you should be writing every one of these steps down. It's going to give me a b and a b. This sign tells me that my signs are the same. This sign tells me what those signs are. And then over a. And then I'm multiplying that by b over. Remember, in this one, all you're doing is taking the square root of a squared and taking the square root of b squared. And we've already done that right here. So I'm just going to write those in. And remember, the difference of two perfect squares, you got a negative sign between two perfect squares. The only difference in those binomials are your signs. So from here, you want to do the cancellation process. You're going to cancel a plus b and a plus b. I can only cancel one of these a plus b's because I only have one on the bottom. The other one is a minus b. And you can't separate them and you can't cancel them because this group is one group, this is one group, and they have to be identical. So from here, you just multiply b times a plus b, which is going to be b, a plus b, and a times a minus b is a times a minus b. And that is your answer on that one. You can pause the video to get all that written out, but you need to write out everything. All right, so next we're going to do x squared minus x over x minus 1. We're going to multiply that by x over y, x plus y over x. So here, the only thing that we can do is notice what is similar between the first one and the second one. So what is similar is an x. Each one of them have at least one x to the first power. So I'm going to factor out an x. So you do x squared divided by x. Again, you need to write this down so that you know what you did and how you got it. So factor out an x. X squared divided by x. Remember, that is x 2 minus 1, which is going to give me x to the first power. All right, and so that's that one. So we're done with the first one. We're going to move on to that second one. Bring that negative sign in. X divided by x. Remember, that's x 1 minus 1, which gives me x to the 0 power. And anything raised to the 0 power is 1. So we're going to put that over x minus 1 times x plus y over x. So there's no other factoring that we can do here, but everything else is factored out as much as it can be. But from here, we can cancel. So we have an x minus 1 here and an x minus 1 here. So both of those can cancel. These x's can cancel because they're the same, leaving me only with x plus y. Okay, you can rewind it, watch that again, pause it so that you can get everything written down. I'm going to move on. All right, over on page 8, we're going to be working with some of the same. So this whole page is nothing but, or these whole 2 pages, is nothing but a difference of 2 squares or a perfect square trinomial. Except for 2 of them. All right, so I'm going to do x squared minus 16 over 7, and I'm going to multiply that by 21 over x squared plus x minus 21. All right, so we're going to factor this one first. X squared minus 16, you immediately notice that both of those, x squared and 16, are perfect squares. So you're going to take the square root of each. The square root of x squared is x, so I'm going to put an x and an x. The square root of 16 is 4, so I'm going to put my 4s. And since it's a difference, my signs are going to be different. Put that over 7 times 21 over, now I have x squared plus x minus 21. Remember, this sign tells me if my signs are the same or if they are different. So that is a negative sign, which means that my signs will be different. I don't always go ahead and put my signs in there, but because I'm only dealing with that 21, I went ahead and put them in. Okay, the factors of x squared are just x and x, so I'm going to go ahead and put those in because it's not going to affect anything. And now I have to find factors of 21. Factors of 21, when subtracted, because that second sign is negative, so factors of 21, when subtracted, will give me 1. That's what I'm looking for now. Okay, except for that's not supposed to be 21, it's supposed to be a 12. Okay, so factors of 12, when subtracted, give you 1. So factors of 12 are 1 times 12, 6 times 2, and 4 times 3. Which one of these, when subtracted, will give you 1? Well, that obvious answer is 4 and 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. Now you have to decide which one is going to be your positive and which one is going to be your negative. So what you do is you look at this sign right here, and it is positive, which means my bigger number needs to be positive. So I'll put my 4 there and my 3 there. Now from here you can cancel x plus 4 and x plus 4. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 21 divided by 7 is 3. So my final answer here is going to be 3 times x minus 4 over x minus 3. That is your final answer. Okay, so let's do one more of these. All right, so we're going to do a squared minus 4. Hope you immediately recognize that that is a difference of 2 squares. And then I'm going to have a squared plus 4a plus 4. And while I'm writing this down, if you're using your book, go ahead and try to solve this one while I'm writing it down. You'll know if you got it right or not as I start working through it. But go ahead and try to factor that, because we've worked through several of these, and you should be able to at least start it. At least factor one of these. All right, so 2a plus 4. Then I have a squared plus a minus 6. Okay, I have all that written down. So we're going to start with our first one to factor. And I have a squared minus 4. So we immediately recognize that that is the difference of 2 squares. So my only difference in my binomials are my signs. The square root of a squared is a. And the square root of 4 is 2. Okay? So now let's move on. So here you should realize that this denominator is a perfect square trinomial because a square is a perfect square and 4 is a perfect square. So my signs are positive. The square root of a squared is a. The square root of 4 is 2. We're going to multiply that by, okay, so we have 2a plus 4. So what is common between that? And that is a 2. And then a plus 2, because 2a divided by 2 leaves me with a. And then 4 divided by 2 leaves me with 2. And that is what I wrote right there. All right. And then the last thing that we're going to factor is this denominator on the right side. We have a squared plus a minus 6. So factors of 6 are 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. My second sign is negative, which means that I'm going to be subtracting, and my signs here are different. So I'm going to go ahead and put those a's in because the only factors of a squared are, in fact, a squared. Or I meant a, sorry. And then I'm going to take that 6 and I'm going to say which numbers when subtracted, and I know I'm subtracting because that second sign is a negative, which factors when subtracted are going to give me 1. So obviously it's going to be 3 minus 2, and then I have to decide which one is going to be the positive and which one is going to be the negative. And since that sign is positive, I want my bigger number to be the positive. All right, from here you cancel. So this a minus 2 and this a minus 2 will cancel. This a plus 2 and this a plus 2 will cancel. And this a plus 2 and this a plus 2 will cancel. And that leaves me with 2 over a plus 3. That is your final answer. All right, so I'm going to stop this video here. This is page 7 and 8. This goes over factoring again and multiplying of binomials and trinomials and how to cancel out.